Welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast with your hosts, Shannon, Kinney-Duh, and Ashley Walburn. Together, we are bringing back the Mindful Mama Movement. Mindful mothering is about nurturing yourself while you nurture your children. It's about consciously awakening to your inner wisdom and practicing presence on your messy, imperfect, and beautiful journey as a mother. From discovering your newborn to loving and accepting the wonderful people who've left your nest, our movement is empowering mamas to be authentic and to live inspired lives. We are so happy you're here. All right, Ashley.
Hi.
We're back. Woo! We're back. Oh my God. I've been so people should know that you and I don't talk regularly. So this update is like a true, real, legit update because I haven't heard what's been going on. Yeah, in your life.
If it weren't for like a little occasional Facebook and an occasional text with each other,
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we don't love each other.
No, we do. And that's why I love you, because we always just pick up wherever we left off. And I'm always connected. I always feel connected to you. And then when I'm with you, I get all these like downloads of how we met and when our kids were younger and all the ways that we've, helped each other throughout life. And what I love
a lot of like really intimate moments and really hilarious moments.
That is so true.
Uh-huh.
That is so true. I guess that's what makes me feel so close to you. Like we've been like holding each other and, we've been, crying with each other. You've been over me while I was crying, looking for my first doula and when I became a mom and all those things that, we'll talk about.
When you had when you had all of a sudden C-section with Ash, that was so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. And I have had since then, and probably since I've talked to you, we had another mom with almost the same situation that we rolled into the hospital and all of a sudden baby was breech, but had been
right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So many things. So what I love is that, I'm thinking it's about 5 years since we recorded the bulk of this show the first time around. And I remember we had coffee and we just started chatting, like, how can we work together? We got to do something. And I was like, well, do you want to start a podcast? And your response was, let's do it. Right? You're just like, let's do it. And so we did. And we've learned a lot since then, but we learned a lot while we were doing it. We had so much fun. I remember sitting on the floor of your studio, like on the hard concrete, because we couldn't get the service. So we had to had this important interview and we're could barely walk afterwards. And
an important interview. And why didn't we have chairs? I guess that was the only place that we could connect in and the interview was starting.
Yes, we were stuck.
Just the two of us, we could have held off.
Exactly.
I can't believe that we didn't have the foresight to take a picture of that. And for listeners, we were in our break room on a concrete floor in front of a refrigerator, leaning into a microphone and a box. But we were sharing one microphone and we were straddling each other.
Yes.
Our legs were around each other so we could get close enough to do the recording. And it was a really great episode.
And it was. And we also totally pulled it off as if we weren't doing that. We were totally we take turns asking a question and so, as your arm is over my shoulder and then I would move back and we were
my legs falling asleep for real.
Yes. I remember my back hurt so bad getting up and the box, what's so funny is I remember we made a makeshift sound box and we were sharing a microphone. So just all these funny things that we did. And this was pre-COVID. This was even pre-Trump because I remember when Hillary
Trump was
lost.
elected 3 months after we started, I think.
Yes.
We started this time of year, fall. Yeah.
That's right. So it was really a big deal. And so a lot has changed since then in the podcasting world, in the life of us, the life of our parenting, and also the life of just mothers. And so when I was on a road trip this past summer, that's when I get my downloads It's like the only time. I love being on the open road. And if I'm by myself, I'm like, oh my God, I just get, floods of inspiration. And I was like, we really need to, this is the time. We really need to get the show back up. And the same thing, Ashley, like within 2 days, I'm like texting you, what do you think? And you're like, let's do it. It's like, I love that about you. And it was like, but it's not like, oh, it's like your gut's like, yes, this is the time to do this. Right.
I don't know, like, I think we all like don't know how we present to other people, and you giving me that feedback and then doing the human design stuff that I'm sure we're going to talk about soon, that is what I've always done.
Yes.
But I kind of am like, if it feels like a yes, then it's a yes. If it feels like a no, I'm good at being like, no.
Yes.
That I'm kind of a hell yes or a heck no, and an in between of, if I'm not sure, like, tell me more. But for sure, doing a podcast with you is just a total blast.
Yeah.
And I love just the perspective that you sharing with me, like, yeah, let's do it. That for me means that we should be doing it.
Right. And I really feel like, this first episode, for all of you listening to our, we really just want to have a conversation. We want this show to be about conversation. And so a lot of times we're not going to know where this is going to go in our conversation. And so it might feel a little random when we're kind of, updating each other. But one of the changes I went through since our first recording of this episode or the series was learning about human design. And one of the things applying it to this, I'm a manifester, and my strength is getting things going, getting things started, getting the ball rolling. And I love that. I thrive in that. I love coming up with, the energy of starting something, getting everyone in place. If you think of it like a movie, it's the producer. It's like, get the location, get the microphones, get everyone together, and boom, let's hit record. And you as a generator are exactly what you said. You are designed to respond with yeses and nos from your gut. This feels right. This feels wrong. You're designed to respond to the life and what comes your way throughout the day. And when you're in tune with that energy, it's so life-changing. And I really have to say, like, back then, I wish I had known that, because I burned myself out doing the first podcast because I don't have consistent generator energy. I'm really good at getting us going, but I didn't ask for help. I tried to do all the technical, and I had, my youngest was 3 at the time, and I had 3 boys, and we're going through the teen age. So now that we're here, it feels like we've just gone through such shift, and we've had more self-awareness, and I'm excited to share about human design, and I'm excited to, share about energy healing. I'm excited to hear all the great things that you've been doing and our different stages of life now with mothering, because we're going to reach a whole new group. And we know that we have all the people that we reached last time are now, a little bit more seasoned in their mothering, and going to be fun to share this journey together again.
I think it's so fun. And, as we age, I'm turning 50 in December, and that there really is something to aging and practicing yoga, and that I also have learned that, that there's some things that I'm really good at home holistic, on mindful mama movement. And there's things that I'm not good at, and they completely deplete me, like the details. And like you too, like I get burnout with the details that we can manifest and do this is easy for me and so fun and gives me energy and supports my soul. In yoga, like we say, like, is it serving my highest good? This totally is serving my highest good. What's not serving my highest good is, the details, but there are then the other people that are so good at that.
Right.
Yeah. And so, like, I feel grateful for that perspective we didn't know.
Yes. And it makes me think about, I think even my intention for bringing this show back is, I feel like women, mothers, in this day and age, post COVID, are going through such shift, but so much juggling, so much hardship in a lot of ways, so much. And I think we're moving away from, I mean, you know, they always say it takes a village, but it truly, like, I think you and I both have been motivated to, like, you know, pull up your bootstraps and like force yourself, we can do this. But kind of solo attitude. And it's like, we're really like in the space of like, and I do think it does come with age and acceptance, and is that, you know, we don't have to do this alone, that we are a community. And, you know, that's what I want the show to be too, is to show that we're, you know, you're not alone in what you're dealing with, whether it's, you know, feeling like your life is a complete mess and, you know, imperfect, and will you ever get through it? And, you know, just the work that we do, even in the home, like being alone with a domestic or being alone in your own work, like really leaning on the people and building community around you, and highlighting your strengths. What we, you know, I think we both tried to do everything instead of highlight what we're really good at and accept that we're not good at all of it. And we need support.
If I could go back to having little kids at home, the one thing that I would do differently is get more help. Tell the truth about my suffering and how hard it was. And if I could do anything over, well, two things. I would get more help. And I've said a lot lately, like, mothers, as soon as COVID happened and we shut down, I was in Florida when it shut down. And the first thing that came to my mind when, you know, NBA shutting down and no more, you know, no, we're not going back to school, that I was like, this is going to be hard on the mothers.
Yeah.
That this shutting down the world and having to manage our health in a really different way, and our families, and educating, that moms were already just keeping their heads above water. And that's what you and I were often doing, was just like, and having guests on Mindful Mama Movement that were, you know, seem to have, you know, like it together a little bit more, has some advice for moms to keep your head above water. And I'm like, what I've learned since COVID is this is really hard for moms. And it was always hard. It's highlighted it. We're home more, the overwhelm. I think our threshold is smaller. That we're, you know, it's just different. And we don't have a mentor or a model. We can't call our grandmothers and say, or even our mothers, and be like, what was it like when the world shut down? What was it like when your kids were on their phones all the time? What was it like? Like, nobody has gone through some really hard times, like COVID, like the divisiveness that came, you know, that this isn't a political show, but the divisiveness that came after Trump was elected, either side, you know, that we just became more harder on each other, more judgmental as a world. But then we were already kind of juggling too many plates. And, you know, and I'm like, what I've seen with moms and doing yoga via Zoom for a year and a half, there were so many aha moments for me. And it is that moms feel alone, and moms need more help than what they've got. And that we need more than just our heads above water. You know, that I think now, I was always just like, I gotta keep my head above water. I gotta keep my head above water. And now I'm like, why is that the goal? You know, why wasn't the goal to keep my hips above water? You know, then I want to walk all the way out. Ankles in. But the second thing that I would do differently, other than ask for more help, cleaning lady, neighbor, something, you know, any help, is I wish I would have kind of not sweated the small stuff. That, like, I wish I would have just picked up my kids' shoes instead of yelling at them because they didn't pick them up 45 times. There were so many things that caused like contention in our house that I'm like, I didn't really care, actually, if their shoes were at the front door. I really didn't care. Why did I care? Why did I raise my voice to my kids and kind of mess up a day over something as
Yeah.
stupid as shoes or laundry
I wonder
that I
if
wish I would have
too,
just not cared.
yeah, I wonder if that was partly like the pressure of that we felt, that pressure to maintain, like, we had this mindset, I think, of like what how raising children should look like, or raising responsible kids should look
Yes.
like. And I think when COVID happened, like there was a pause, and it wasn't easy, and it was very difficult for most of us, but there was also a shift of like, oh, like you said, like, oh, this is what it feels like when I'm not treading water. Like, I had an old post where I was talking about how exhausted I was when I was making lunches, and I was getting everyone to their field trips, and I was doing all this stuff. And I looked at my face, and I was like, I looked like 20 years older than I do now. And I was
Yeah,
like
same.
so exhausted, rushing, and I'm yelling at my kids to get to school on time. And then COVID happened, and I was like, oh, like a reset. And I
Mm-hmm.
think what I'm hearing from a lot of people now is like, so many moms had that taste. Oh, I can see what it feels like. I don't have to tread water. I have a little breathing space here too. There's more help. And then we're back at it. We're back, and everyone wants to go back to the way it was. And kind of, I just hear from a lot of people that they're struggling almost even more, because it's almost like when you don't rest, because if you sit, you're never going to get back up. Do you know what I mean? Like once you get
Yeah.
off the race, it's a lot harder to get
Yeah.
back up. And I feel like a lot of people are feeling that intensity right now. And so I hope that with our sharing and with our new guests and our community that will continue to grow, that we can all come together and empower each other. I love that idea, Ashley, of like, we are beyond the days of just treading water. Let's see if we could get to at least to the hips.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like the thriving, not just surviving. The head above water is, I'm just making it. I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
And like thriving for me is a salsa dance, that like there's no restriction, there's movement, we have options. What are they?
You're right.
And moms, as a therapist, that I've had more moms really struggling in the last couple of years with so much anger. And what I would say is they are mad, and that our anxiety levels are high. It manifests as frustration.
Yes.
I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much. And then I flip out. And I want moms to come here and feel like this is a kind of new Me Too movement, that like, I'm struggling, me too, or I'm feeling like I know my options and I'm figuring stuff out, and mom saying, me too, that it's different than what it was. And to come here and feel like women together are, together.
Yeah. I also think too, like, not just the struggle, but like, I want more. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want like financial independence and security, and I want to take my power back, and I want to not seek outside validation. I think that's another thing that's coming with our age, is this like this deep knowing that we don't have to do things to get outside approval. To say, look at what I can do, or look, am I a good mom, or am I a powerful woman? Like, all, do I make enough? Am I worthy? I feel like women, I just want the permission given that we deserve more than just getting by, and
yes,
that's
more than just ... More than just.
Yeah. Yes,
we do. And I think even like since we were on in 2016 and 2017, that the things are changing, for women, and in some ways, like we're being pulled back.
Yes.
And in some ways we're being propelled forward.
Yes.
And it feels to me visually like women are the race horses, and kind of the universe, or the men, are the jockeys, and they're trying to hold us back. But we're just waiting for the gates to open so we can, there's nothing in our way anymore. And I hope every mom can
Yes.
feel that or share with us why they don't.
Yes. 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 That's beautiful. I love that visual. Okay. So we're kind of doing this backwards, but there are going to be people who have not heard of the Mindful Mama movement previously and are new to us. So why don't we introduce ourselves and like, just tell us, a little bit more about who you are and what stage of mothering you're in.
Well, I'm in the biggest transition stage of my life. So I'm Ashley Walburn. I am mother of 4 boys, and I am a yoga teacher and a birth doula and a marriage and family therapist. I am newly a craniosacral therapist and in a very long, maybe the rest of my life, training. There's so much to learn, and a childbirth educator. So it sounds like I work a ton, and I kind of do, but I do a lot of little things. Pieces of every day is a little bit of different. And I'm honored to support women and mothers and as a career. And I think I love working with women and mothers because I have a husband and 4 boys, and that I love to be around women also, sometimes women. Yeah. And I just 3 weeks ago became a quote unquote empty nester, and I'm hating it. So many of my friends are just like, whoa, the house stays clean, and I am not transitioning well. I feel like I've got my heels dug so deep in the sand, and I don't want to go. I don't want this stage of my life to be over. And I know they're coming home for their holiday break for a month, and I know they'll be home in the summers for a few years. But the day-to-day, having the chatter and boys' friends stopping by and checking in with homework and helping with homework, that I don't think, for me, that I really thought that was ever going to end.
Yes.
And as you know, but not everybody knows, I had my first baby when I was halfway through college in 21. So my transition is my entire adult life. I've been a mom.
Yes.
And I know I'm not a mom anymore, but not having them at home is really, messing with me. So I'm aware. My husband and I went on a little trip last week, kind of, that we've been planning, celebrating being empty nesters. And I was in a pretty bad mood the whole time. And I was aware of it. I'm so grateful for that awareness, because I was crabby with Will. And I noticed it. And so, I'd be like, I just need to go to our hotel room for a little bit. I need to.
Yes.
That everything was triggering me. Everything. And so it wasn't the trip of our dreams, I don't really think. But it was time to just kind of be with Will out of Kansas City and, I don't know, start to settle into this. And so now I'm like, I got to focus on myself, because my heart feels like it's broken. Yeah. It feels kind of like a breakup where I'm thinking about my boys a lot and feeling sorry for myself. So yeah.
I hear you. My heart kind of breaks for you too. And for me, just even getting to the teenage stage, I know we're going to sound like some old, it goes fast, but I mean, it's just a blip. It's just a blip when I think of.
Even when I think back to you being in my prenatal yoga classes, before that, when I was having my babies, I was in your yoga classes. They just, there was no prenatal or postpartum yoga.
Yeah.
But that feels to me like moments ago, not 13 years ago.
Right.
And I remember starting yoga classes, and I would say, I've got a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And now my oldest is 28. And my baby is 18. And man, oh man.
Yeah.
So that's where I am.
Well, we
about
need each
you.
other in every single
God,
stage,
yes.
you know, and yeah, so I'm Shannon Kinney-Duh, and I created a free spirit life. I'm a spiritual health and wellness coach and a human design specialist and an artist. I really have always, like Ashley, like, you know, empowering women has just been part of all of my past career, and really helping us get in tune with our intuition, really connecting more deeply to our inner life, living with more authenticity and courage along the way. Most recently, human design is something I'm really excited about. Energy work in general, and I have to say, I'm finally, I know I'm an artist, but it took me a long time to like actually like embrace my own art. And I am loving painting. I'm loving watercolor. I'm getting really into flower essences and like this.
Oh my God, they're so beautiful. I've been watching some of your stuff. Beautiful.
Thank you. So
I just want your art hanging all over Home Holistic and my house.
That makes me so happy because that is my next, you know, push to get myself sharing my art in a bigger and bolder way. So, but using art and creativity as a spiritual modality and as a way to, because I really believe all of us are creative and need to express that side of us. And it's like what you said, I've really been realizing too, because I am a mom to 3 boys. My boys are 14, 11, and 8. And, I was always, you know, the camp counselor for all the girls, and I was always running girls' circles and women's retreats. And I think my painting and this new love of flowers is like my feminine energy, just like wanting to explode in my house. Like I'm realizing like how much I need that fluidity and flow and spontaneity and creativity. And yeah, I didn't realize that living with all boys, you know, it's kind of hard to do that sometimes. So I'm making more space for that. And yeah, that's who I am. And
yeah, even at Home Holistic, like when men are supposed to be here, they're here for an appointment or wherever, I'm always like, what is that man doing here? And I think it's just like so much deep voices in my life.
You're like, oh my God, am I back home? Yeah.
What are they doing here?
It is so funny because when I first found out I was having a boy, I'm like, what am I going to do with a boy? Like all I know was girls, girls, girls. And now like I can't imagine it any other way.
Me too.
But we gotta, you know, we're raising some amazing boys, and we're also, you know, gonna keep connecting with our people too, and getting out of that boyville as much as we can. So we gotta bond.
I mean, for real. For real. I wonder how you are doing with boys and school, and what are your kids doing for school? Are they?
Yeah. So yeah, when COVID happened, so we used to do Montessori and then we did public school, and then COVID happened and we tried the whole virtual thing. And we finally decided, you know what, with our lifestyle and our flexibility of working from home, we are giving homeschool a try. And this is the first year that I actually feel like my whole mindset has shifted. I think before COVID, it was kind of going back to that. What are they going to think of us? Like I always kind of was interested in it, but I also felt kind of judged for it. And I just wasn't ready to take that responsibility on. Now that they're a little bit older and I have kind of de-schooled myself a little bit and really, I'm really embracing it. You know, it's not an easy choice, but it's what the kids have chosen to do this year. We're meeting new people. There's some new, enrichment, like co-ops happening around Kansas City. So I feel definitely not alone in that anymore. I thought for a while I was like, you know, this island that was, you know, leaving the mothership, and that was really scary. But yeah, we're in a good groove. And so, you know, for me, it's just more about really making sure that my time matters. And you know, I give them time, but then I also have to, you know, dedicate my time to my work and my clients.
I mean, there's no way you could do it if you don't.
No. And I'm doing it. It's just, it's always been a juggle for me. But I feel like I've gotten a lot better at setting healthy boundaries in my home. And I'm sure we'll talk about all that and more in coming episodes, like just, the things that we're learning, the things we've screwed up on, the things we wish we would done differently, and everything in between. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy. And I feel really so excited and honored to be doing this with you, but also just to be sharing our journeys with mothers that, this sounds maybe arrogant, but a lot of the people that we were having on Mindful Mama Movement 6 years ago we are those people now, that we were like really looking to some like parenting, people with a lot of experience parenting and that have tried a lot of different modalities and things, and that they could come and give some real expert advice. And I think we're going to have some great guests ahead also, but what we have to share is so different than, what I did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And in 10 more years, I'm going to be able to help you guys with, college
oh my God, yes.
and scholarships and all these things that, we're navigating right now. That is a new kind of way of functioning and learning. And man, it's a crazy time. Thank God for Life 360, that I can like watch where my kids are going, and I hate it as much as I'm grateful for it. That, sometimes I'll see, I'm like, where's he going? He's driving 75 miles an hour. That there's some crazy parts of parenting with technology, man.
Yeah. And you're so right. Like when you're in whatever stage, like I remember when I was with my oldest and he was not a good sleeper. He would not settle. And I'm looking up at the sky thinking this was going to last my lifetime. Like I will never sleep again. And I will never have friends. And all that, when you're in it, you just can't see out until the next, till you're in the next. So like we'll be starting driving probably this coming year. And already I'm still like, my kids aren't going to drive. Like, and then you're there. Right. And it's just like, how do we, and I think, with this show, with the mindful piece of the Mindful Mama movement, it's really about, embracing and savoring where we're at and still missing and longing for where we've come, and still worrying about where we're going. Like it's all of it. It's the mess and the beauty of being a mother, being a woman, of, trying to be somewhat mindful and present as best we can in the midst of this crazy thing called life and mothering. So I'm excited to be journeying on this with you again. I cannot wait for more conversations with you, Ash, and with all of you listening. We have a new website. It is mindfulmamamovementpodcast.com. That's where you can find all of the archived shows, and we'll be connecting on social media. Just give us a little time to figure all that stuff out.
We're all going through this together, and I hope for ourselves and for everybody listening that they come here, for a little break and a little podcast to listen to while they're walking or making dinner, and leave with some tools and, to really feel like there's women around you, and that there's a foundation beneath us that sometimes we don't feel like we've got. Right. And those are the other mothers, that we are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone. And we're going to share some really fun, grounding, useful tips and tricks. So when it is a hard day, you've got some tools that you didn't maybe have before.
Yes, I love that. It's beautiful. So if you're listening, stop by iTunes, leave us a review, help us get the word out that the show is back, and we'll keep coming back with some more great episodes to come. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Ash, for saying, let's do this.
Let's do it. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it.